Hi, hello. Welcome to my second video on my experiences at All Your Friends Fest 2024. In my last video, which you can find in the card above or in the description, I talked about the performances and ranked them based on my enjoyment and their seeming technical prowess and that sort of stuff. I wanted to keep the music separate from other factors at the festival to be fair to the artists because they're not the ones in charge of, well, the things that went wrong in the coordination of the event, which is what this video is all about. Let me relay to you all of the problems that occurred at All Your Friends Fest 2024. If you experienced these when you went as well, feel free to go off in the comments, but I'm not just making this video to complain. I want to be transparent to people who might want to go to the next event, what happens, what they should expect, but also more so if those involved running the event watch this and hear about these things. Hopefully they'll actually just get fixed and never happen again, right? So let's run through my experience with the event coordination and everything outside of the performances from the top. I ordered my tickets online, easy peasy, and was sent downloadable passes with plenty of time in advance. That was great. Although unrelated to your tickets and not necessary for attendance, the event had an app that you could download with the scheduling. Its primary function seemed to be a means to favorite the bands that you want to see most, so you'll get a notification when they're starting, but that seemed a bit redundant as there was technically only one band playing on one stage or the other at a time in linear succession. I don't know how the app was going to help with that. Like, it didn't schedule bathroom breaks or meal times for you, so it was whatever. It was nice to have the information, which I guess is a good spot to talk about the lack of general information on the event provided. I got an email for the event titled "Parking Know Before You Go" because we paid for weekend parking. So I don't know if anyone going who attended the event but just got dropped off instead of paying for a parking pass even got this email too. If you attended that way or through the shuttle services, feel free to let me know in the comments whether you got an email too and it was named something different. But regardless, this email that I did get is the only place that I was preemptively provided information about what the guidelines for the event were. Like, yeah, they have a facts page on the website, but it didn't have as many specifics. Only the email mentioned the size of bottle that you could bring in, that they had to be empty, that there would be a refillable water station, that a small towel or chair are allowed, but anything bigger than a purse would not, and everything had to be searched. All great stuff to know, but apparently a lot of people didn't know, because the process of checking an admission was extremely clogged up. There was a guy ahead of us in the bag check that held us up for like 10 fucking minutes because they weren't taking people in from behind or around him. And the guy tried bringing in half a dozen Gatorade bottles and he would not give up, arguing with the staff that they're not alcoholic instead of just taking the L because that wasn't the problem. Outside food and drink were just not allowed. It's hard to say whether the congestion and continuous opposition to the guidelines at the check gates was because people were inconsiderate and oblivious, or that it was the event's fault for not making its conditions more apparent. And the worst part of it is that even after that kerfuffle, there were so many people attending the event that weren't made to follow the guidelines anyway. There were, in fact, lounge chairs and huge blankets and girls with big Stanley cups. One chick had like a several-liter jug of a bottle. They said in the emails that only purses or smaller were allowed, but there was one guy walking around in a skull mask with a full canvas backpack that I am pretty sure was dealing drugs. It was not hard to miss if they cared to enforce that. As for that part of attending the first day, it was horribly communicated the process necessary to even enter the grounds. Coming in from the parking lot area, everyone just filed into the nearest line because all the people were just heading towards the entrance. There was no signage to indicate that we should be doing anything otherwise. No staff members guiding people. So that's exactly what we did. We got in line and we waited a good 10 some odd minutes before overhearing people talking about needing to get a wristband before being in the line that we were already in. So we walked out and around and found the line to get wristbands. If we'd known that it would be separate, we wouldn't have wasted our time, but there were absolutely no signs to direct people, and I didn't receive any information in emails or with the tickets that explained the entrance process. So that sucked. The wristband line took closer to an hour to get through. There were a lot of people in line, but I'm honestly not sure why it took so long. The only thing they had to do was scan a QR code with their phone and hand us a wristband based on our entry level. But the line was at like a near constant standstill. They also didn't warn guests that the wristbands were the kind that you should not over tighten because they cannot be loosened. So if you over tightened it the first day and had to cut it off for the next day, you were kind of screwed. Not that I did that, but I'm sure lots of people did. And then, with that other guy that I mentioned putting up a stink with bag check, we ended up missing the whole first performance, although we'd arrived with plenty of time ahead to have caught them. You know, if things had been organized better. It was nice that they provided free water refills because these were hot, long days and it's important to fight dehydration. I mean, it was humane of them. I wouldn't have put it past a big event like this to force people to pay for water, but thankfully all your friends did not. My friends couldn't stand the taste of the water, but I just suffered it. On another positive note, they had a battery recharge station where you could charge your phone or vape, so that was cool to have that accessibility. There were lots of toilets, and I went at off times, so I never had to wait. By the end of the second day, it seemed as though quite a few of them were in a state of overuse, shall we say. I did see the waste trucks complete several pump outs throughout the event, so it's not like they weren't there getting serviced. I think some toilets just got hit a lot harder than others, based on their location and where humans naturally gravitate towards, I suppose. That said, I didn't notice any receptacle within the porta potties for feminine waste products. One chick just threw her tampon in the toilet, but that's less on her and entirely on the event for not providing that. People really aren't inclined to carry a bloody pad out of a porta potty to throw out in a trash can somewhere else in front of everyone. On that note, what were diabetic people supposed to do, or anyone who needs to use a disposable needle? But maybe that was provided with the handicapped washrooms. Now, I guess I'll talk about the tent stage, and it seemed a bit unoptimized, sound-wise, but some bands managed to make it work. I haven't been to other concerts, especially not as large-scale events as this, so I don't know how common it is to have the sound mixers differ so much from the expected sound of a song. I can't say that the tent stage is something to fix, really, but something that certainly could be fixed, and was entirely within the control of the organizers, was that there wasn't enough time between sets. There wasn't any time between sets. The bands were slated to perfectly butt into each other, and performances were staggered between the tent and main stage so they could seamlessly do that. But I didn't want that. It was efficient, impressive even, but not actually ideal if you want to experience everyone in the lineup. There needed to be some sort of intermission. If you wanted to eat or had to go to the bathroom, it was a constant matter of having to choose your basic needs over getting to experience the music that you paid to come see. Hordes of people were leaving the stage areas with 2 or more songs left to the set because they wanted a good viewing spot for the next band. And that's not fair to the artists, I think. It must be demoralizing as heck to have tens of dozens of people up and leave in the middle of a song. I realize that having so many bands play for so long, that's how they pack them all into the day, but I'd much rather have had one less band play and short intermissions than to be in a constant battle to get to the next stage, have to miss a performance for food, or worry that I'll miss my favorite song by a band because I had to pee and I couldn't wait. The food prices were expected. The drink prices were fucking crazy. You could buy Jameson mixed drinks or a variety of coolers from the bar tents. As it currently stands, your average Jameson lemonade cooler bought directly from the LCBO is under $4 a can. They were the drink of choice at the event, and they were charging $14 a cooler. That's an extra $10 out of nowhere, like over 3 times the price. I cannot imagine how much money some people dropped to get drunk at that festival. I got myself one mixed drink at the show, and I chose the cheapest $12 Jameson stall mixed drink because at least that way I'm paying for the service of them making it for me, so it felt less stupid to pay that much. Now, to talk about the worst part of All Your Friends 2024, the parking kerfuffle after day one. Getting into the event for parking in the morning was fine, although a lot of people who were supposed to be directing us still didn't seem like they were awake yet. However, after Billy Talent finished playing, scheduled for 11 p.m., there was a mass exodus of the event grounds to the parking field. Majority of people immediately went back to their car, including us. Some cars booked it out of Dodge within seconds. They were the smart ones. No one else should have expected the clusterfuck that ensued. We, my friends and I, didn't dawdle. We were buckled in and ready to go within like 10 minutes. But that was too late, I guess. All the people around us that had pulled out of their spots were lined up down the aisles and were completely stopped. No one could move. No one at the exit of the field was moving. We were stuck in our car, literally trapped at this event for 2 fucking hours. There was zero communication going on. Nobody knew why this was happening. Everybody was frustrated. Even now, I have no idea what the actual problem was. When we eventually made it out of the field, we were directed to the road by cop cars. So I assume that the event organizers just hadn't planned anything for parking directions after the show. If you know what happened, please comment below. I really want to know because I haven't seen anything mentioned about it, and that was awful. That really pissed me off, so I'd like an explanation. Everything ran smoothly the second night while leaving. There was plenty of after-show direction, and we got out at a very reasonable speed, so I'm very thankful for that. But if the tickets weren't so expensive, and I didn't want to see Fall Out Boy so bad, that infuriating parking experience, getting trapped at the event for hours, was almost enough to make us not want to come back for the second day. Like, that's bad. What also ran much smoother the second day was entrance processing. Everyone actually could just get in the unmarked gate line, and 2 girls walked along, making sure that everyone had wristbands. That worked inherently better because everyone from yesterday already had wristbands, but separating the process in the first place had just been a dumb call. As for the other people, like the other attendees, the crowd at All Your Friends Fest were generally well behaved and pretty chill. As long as we kind of obeyed the concert pit proximity rules, everyone was respectful of space, not rowdy anywhere that they weren't supposed to be. And lastly, as much as I enjoyed the pyrotechnics of Fall Out Boy's performance, I feel as though some of the fireworks were excessive. There were several times when they were set to go off mid-song to a beat that it was a tiny bit off, but also just startled me and my friends because we didn't assume that they would be going off. Like, it was just a bit of a jump scare. And for something that didn't enhance the experience of the song, it seemed like a waste. They were already doing so much else in terms of props and visuals, some of the on-stage bangs weren't needed. If you are easily jump scared, then maybe be warned for next time, or if you ever go to a Fall Out Boy show. So yeah, those are all the things that I experienced about All Your Friends Fest 2024 that wasn't centered on the bands themselves. From people that I know, it sounds like disorganization is actually pretty common around large events, which I find baffling because I'd think that communication and ease of flow would be top priority, but I don't know. I guess nobody thinks to send out more information or invest in proper signage when doing a thousands upon thousands of human being gatherings. Dear All Your Friends coordinators for 2025, please take all of these things into consideration to improve for next year, and fellow festival goers, be prepared for the same bullshit, if not. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't seen my other video ranking the performances of AYF 2024, you should definitely go check that out. And next week, I'll have one last video talking about what I learned from this experience because it was actually my first real concert, and yeah, I learned some things about myself. Like if you liked, comment if you know what the hell happened with that parking jam the first night, subscribe, you can support me in the links below. Okay, bye.